Sick.
Bring that as a prop.
Yeah.
So how did that process? And Ollie touched on something really interesting there. So you've developed like the range. Does Troy then come in? I know it's like a Troy Lee advert. It's so interesting though. Come in and add like the Troy Lee sprinkle.
Depends what it was. Yeah,
Okay.
totally depends what it. Like it's one of his favourite phrases was like you'd hear it a lot in the office when he's coming around to design. Make it 20% faster, man. Like, you know, like on the graphic or something. He's always like, you know, sort of like the speed thing is just inbuilt into his style.
Right.
And even for like a Euro, like, you know, they had this in SoCal, they sort of had this phrase, oh, that's a bit Euro. You know, so some of the stuff I did in the show, it's a bit Euro, that bit, you know, needs to be a bit more Cali, a bit faster. But actually, when you get the blending those things, right, obviously I detuned some of the stuff.
Okay.
Because, you know, so he's a big believer in like mild and we'd say like mild and wild, right? You know, so which I get, which I think is cool. You know?
Yeah.
Sort of works. But yeah,
That's so interesting.
You remember A1? It's like it was up against. Do you remember Urge? Those helmets.
Yeah.
I don't want to like drop anyone.
yeah.
under
Well,
the
that was
bus,
super
but, like,
with the
Euro.
circle.
When you talk Euro,
that was so Euro.
Yeah,
And it was like it was cool,
yeah.
wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
like when you saw them compared,
So
it had that like it was like a marsh guard as the visor, wasn't it? And it had
Yeah,
like
that's
a
it.
hole. Yeah, a funny
Yeah.
like little vent as like a porthole, and then you compare it to a TLD helmet, and it's just like
yeah.
I know which one I want to run.
Yeah, yeah,
put it
yeah.
that way.
And that's what they did in the moto helmet thing as well. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you had like your RIs and things like that, which, yeah, all right, really safe, functional, whatever. But then when I can't remember what the name of the Troy Lee one was.
SE.
Could have been your SE. It was
Yeah,
just like
SE3.
whoa,
I think. Yeah.
insane.
Then
It
it was
was so
SE4.
sick.
Yeah. I think.
I mean, yeah, it said they've always, mate, I've got so much history with all that stuff. Just been a massive fan since I was a kid, you know, even from getting the helmet fins and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Just
Fins.
it's the sickest thing. Amazing. All right, so time at Troy Lee.
Yeah.
What are some of the other stuff that happened there when you were there? Meeting people. You
yeah,
said
I mean,
you met
'cause
Tomac. And
I think because I was, although I'm sort of background designer, I've always been as much interested in sort of marketing and what else is going on in the business. So, you know, I think some designers, what I'd say more like pure designers than I am, and probably better designers than me, are very focused on just the design or the product. But I've always liked all of it. So I did get involved in like some of the like rider stuff and remember, you know, like getting Seminuk onto a proper TLD contract back in the day. And then things like, you know, things like sorting out Cam Zink's helmets for Rampage and stuff like that. Going out to Rampage, which is, as you know, like unique experience.
Did you do there were extra pads on his helmet one year for, I think it was the Icon Sender Flip.
So I did, so the year that I was out there was the 2010 when I think it was called the Oakley Sender, and he did the massive 360 drop.
Spin, okay, that's the year
And that,
before, I think.
yeah, and that was the year that like G was out there, and I think came second off a big sort of like that big floaty sort of landing. But I mean, I always tell people this story when I talk about Rampage because TV never does that stuff justice, as you well know. But he'd spent the time getting this, designed this sort of custom helmet, and obviously that Spray Shop did it, and then Troy added a little bit more as, you know, Troy style. So got the Sprinter van, drove out from Cali. I was on my Todd as well. Drove out from Cali out to Utah in the big Sprinter, and it's like windy, like flipping. So it's got a 6 or 8 hour drive, right, whatever. And then got there, all the lads were starting to practice, and then finals day, you know, that thing at the time was massive. And he was doing this 360 drop, and first run, he over-rotated, I think, and smashed his head, properly smashed his head. Tore this visor off. It was like this brand new helmet that I've just presented to him in this bag, like, you know, like ripped off the visor and stuff. And then, and then the bit you don't see sort of, I guess, on the TV was like, there's this massive crash. He gets checked out by the medical staff. I go off and find him another visor. So if you look at the photos from that, the visor doesn't have the paint job.
Oh, right.
You know, it's just a plain black visor. Yeah. But then they sit up there. Then the wind came in, and he was sat up at the top of the hill for like 2.5 hours. And then it went, and he just stomped it second run. After being sat up cold, no practice, no...
That's the shocking thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Those, as just like to an average rider like myself, you're like, Yeah, respect.
Oh, dude, I think everyone listening can appreciate how much more wild that is. When you're in the moment and you're doing it back and forth, you can maybe achieve a bit more. Like, it's easier to change something and stomp something.
Yeah.
But to just sit up there for 2 hours thinking about it.
Yeah.
And that landing was narrow. I remember it because Bingeli crashed. He did his femur on it, and it was like rocks down either side, like the landings are at Rampage. But it was so narrow compared to like today's landings.
Yeah, totally.
He's spinning off it.
Yeah. Completely blind, because when you go off, all you're seeing is basically sky. Getting the angle.
I think Troy added some like external pads. I think he flipped off that one. I could get this all wrong, but I remember the helmet. It was a D3 and it had like external.
Yeah, maybe that was the year.
It was insane. It was a really crazy looking thing, and it was really like, whoa. Like if
he's really going for it.
Dude, if my helmet sponsor gave me one of them, I'd be like, you're planning for something here, aren't you?
Yeah, that's the thing with pushing the envelope. Sometimes you push it a bit far. Yeah. Like,
turn up with a Troy Lee Zorb. Yeah. There you go, mate.
Just bouncing down several miles down the hill.
Yeah. So you're at Troy Lee, and then you have the idea for Hip Lock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey man, what an episode that was. You did amazing in it.
And so did you.
You shone like a star.
You shone like a moon.
Can we also put something up here that you can click on for the next episode?
How about we put a subscribe up there in the middle?
Yeah, I love
We're going to put a video we think that our lovely companionship will love on your face.
On my face?
Yeah. And
so
on
you can't see me now?
Gone. And on my face, another video that we think people will love. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please hit like and subscribe. You guys are the best.
Peace and love.